That's so nice. Thank you. Thank you, man. There's a vet. There's a vet. We love our vets. Thank you, everybody. Sit down, please. We had about 24 hours to put this together. It was very, very quick, and we're here for some very special people, and we're going to hear from some of them. But this is an honor. This is a really honor. And I didn't want to be here, I have to be honest. I wanted to be about 5 minutes away, and I've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed that. All the online polls said I've done very well with that, with the debates, and I've had a kick with it. But you have to stick up for your rights. When you're treated badly, you have to stick up for your rights. You have to do it. And whether we like it or not, whether it's something we want to do or not, and that's what our country has to do. I mean, as an example, Iran, the way they've been treating us with all of this horrible, this deal is one of the worst deals I've ever seen negotiated under any circumstances. And we just take it. We have to stick up for ourselves as people, and we have to stick up for our country when we're being mistreated. Remember that. And I have to go a little step further and say that Fox has been extremely nice, and the last number of hours, actually. And they've wanted me there, and they said, how about now? They called a few minutes ago. How about now? Can you come over? I said, hasn't it already started? And we actually thought what we'd do is we'd let them start, and we wanted to be about 15 minutes into that hour so that by now they're all tuned in. Look at all the cameras, like the Academy Awards. This is like the Academy Awards. This is the Academy Awards. We're actually told that we have more cameras than they do by quite a bit, so that's sort of interesting. And you know what? That's really in honor of our vets, but they have been. They've been very nice, and they wanted me to go and apologize and everything else, and they did apologize, and they could not have been. But once this started, it's for our vets, there was nothing I could do. I don't know. And you know what? I don't know. Is it, for me personally, a good thing, a bad thing? Will I get more votes? Will I get less votes? Nobody knows. Who the hell knows? But it's for our vets, and you're going to like it because we raised over $5 million in one day. Over $5 million. So that's not so bad. My whole theme is Make America Great Again. And that's what we're going to do. And we wouldn't have even been here if it weren't for our vets. And our vets are being mistreated. Illegal immigrants are treated better in many cases than our vets. And it's not going to happen anymore. Not going to happen anymore. So once this ball started rolling, we couldn't stop it. And you see the House is packed. And literally, this took place less than 24 hours. We had less than 24 hours to do this because they said, listen, I'm not going to do the debate out of respect for myself. I won't do it because it would just be wrong. But I got to, I love Iowa. I'm here. We got to do something. I didn't know we were going to raise $5 million. We actually raised close to $6 million, to be totally honest. But, and I have to say, a lot more to come. We set up a site, www.donaldtrump4vets.com. 4vets.com. And they've raised almost $500,000 just today. So I think this money is going to continue to pour in. And we have some incredible, incredible people. I do want to call out some of the folks that gave a lot of the money. And then we're going to have somebody come up to speak who's an incredible speaker, but much more importantly, it's the subject. Somebody that really, really understands what the vets are going through. But first, we have to talk about people that made a lot of money. And they wouldn't have made a lot of money. They wouldn't even be here if it weren't for the vets and our great military. Because the military, right, Phil, has a lot more guts than you do. Is that right? We have different kind of guts, right? So Carl Icahn gave $500,000. One quick phone call. Would $500,000 be okay? Richard Lefrak, a great builder in New York, gave $100,000. Donald Trump, another great builder in New York, now a politician. I can't stand this. A politician? I don't want to be called a politician. All talk, no action. I refuse to be called a politician. Donald Trump gave $1 million, okay? The Fisher family of New York gave $75,000. Howard Lorber, a great a great fan and friend of our family, $100,000. A very, very rich man in New York, a very good friend of mine, a very good person, and he wants to be anonymous. The first time in his life, all his life he was out there. Now I said, do me a favor, could you give me $1 million for this? He said, what? I said, don't worry about it, just give me $1 million. He said, no, at least tell me. I said, it's for the vets. He said, you got it. Is that good, right? And he wanted to be anonymous. I don't know, he's changed, because you know what? You know who I'm talking about. 2 years ago, yes? It really is too crazy, right? You know, I tell the story. I love protests. I love protests at my rallies because, here, this is a beautiful place, but we have thousands of people outside that weren't as good as real estate as you folks, I will tell you. But we have thousands of people outside trying to get in. We set up cameras, we set up screens, we have everything. But I will tell you, you look at that, I love the protesters in the big arenas because the cameras never move. They're always on my face. And I say to my wife, Melania, honey, stand up. She has to suffer through this. She has to suffer through this. No, I go home. And it's always broadcast. You know, they can never let me like the other politicians. Nobody cares. There's nobody covering them, no cameras. Look at this. It's like crazy. But I'd say, how did I do? She said, you were great. Were there many people there? I say, what do you mean? There were 21,000. It was like in the Mavericks Arena. Or it was, I remember, in Alabama, Mobile, Alabama, we had 35,000 people. By the way, we get the biggest crowds by far. Much bigger than Bernie, although I have to say, he's second. He is second. No other Republican. But we get the biggest crowds. And she'll say, but they never show the crowd. And I'll say, what do you mean they never show the crowd? And I realized they never turn the camera. And I always say, you know, I figured maybe they're fixed. These are new cameras they can't turn. The only way you find out that they're not fixed, they're like pretzels the way they can turn them, is when you have a protester. You can have protesters up in the top and they're turned around sideways. They turn, but they don't want to show the crowd. So it's one of those things. So we have a rich man from New York, a good guy who's become a little bit reclusive, obviously, $1 million. He's a great guy. We have another unbelievable man, Ike Perlmutter from Marvel. He did such an unbelievable job. One of the great, great men of our country in terms of business and talent. And he's giving Ike and Lori Perlmutter $1 million. J.J. Cafaro from Florida and from Cleveland. He's a man who made a lot of money in Cleveland, does a good job, and a fantastic man. $50,000. J.J., thank you. Another great friend of mine, one of the most brilliant men you'll ever meet, a phenomenal world-class poker player. You wouldn't even know it. He doesn't do that for a living. He makes money for a living in every way. You cannot make a deal with this guy and come out on top. It's impossible. In fact, I'm thinking about him for China. How about him negotiating with China? Okay? You know, China, this year in trade, will make over $500 billion in terms of our trade deficit. $500 billion. That's no partnership. And I'm a free trader. I love free trade. But we have to use our head. And we use political hacks to negotiate with the Chinese. And they have the smartest people. I deal with them all the time. I love the Chinese. They buy my apartments for millions. I have their largest bank in the world from China in one of my buildings. I love them. I'm not blaming the Chinese. I'm not angry at them. I'm angry at our politicians because we have people that are incompetent running our country. Why should we be losing in trade deficits $500 billion a year? So it's not going to happen. So if I took a guy like this, put him in charge, his wife is so incredible. Would you both come up? Mr. and Mrs. Phil Ruffin, come on up. Come up. Come up. He's never had anything. It's like everything he touches turns to gold. Whatever deal he goes into, he bought a piece of land in Las Vegas, spent $110 million. He sold it a few years later and made plenty of money in between for $1.3 billion, right? Just about 1.3. I think he says more. Every single day. So when he gives $1 million, it's like, you know what, that's 10 cents. But for him, very important. Phil Ruffin, just say a couple of words.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce my wife, Alexander. Donald and I have been friends for some 18 years and business partners. And about 2 years ago, I said, Donald, if you ever run for president, I will give you $1 million. Well, he ran. I gave him $1 million. He sent it back. He said, I can't take your money. I couldn't believe it. In any case, he's a great man, and I'm very happy. My wife and I will donate $1 million to your charity. That's good. And thank you very much.
He actually sent me $1 million, and he said, there's 10 or 20 more of them if you want it, if you need it, and I sent it back. I just can't stand it. You know, I'm self-funding my own campaign, right? I'm sorry. But all my life, I made money. I've always been good making money. I think I have great imagination, but I made money. And all my life, I did well. And my father always said, everything he touches turns to gold. That's why I use that same expression on him, because there's a guy, believe me, and a fantastic guy. But he always said, everything my boy touches turns to gold. And what happened is I turned all this money down. They're calling and calling. They want to give me money because being number one, they all want to control you. They want to give you money, and now they call you. Remember, I gave you $5 million. I told the story about the Ford plant, about the Nabisco plant. So what happens is all my life, and I'm turning down millions, and I was in Iowa in a different location. We had 4,000 people. And I went to those people. I said, listen, I don't feel good about turning down money. Because my whole life I've been greedy. I've grabbed all the money I could get. I'm so greedy. But now I want to be greedy for the United States. I want to grab all that money. I'm going to be greedy for the United States. And it's true. But I always felt guilty. So I'm in this beautiful place, and the crowd is lovely. I mean, we have the most incredible people in this country, in Iowa. But in this country, it's like a movement going on. The cover of Time magazine this week is a whole thing. It's a cover story. In fact, they have, there it is. Hold that up. They have the back of my head. They have the back of my head with a massive crowd in front of me, and they're covering the story. And I said, I didn't even know they were doing a story, and it's the cover of Time. They're talking about the movement. It is actually a movement. But what's happening is, I said to the crowd, let me ask you this one thing. Supposing, and I promise you I won't be influenced, could I take all this money? Because I'm turning away so much money. Stand up, please. Could I take all this money? And everybody went crazy. No, no, no. There was only one guy, and he was in the back corner of the room, and he was a crooked-looking guy. He was the only guy. He looked like such a crook. And he said, it's okay to take it. And I looked at that guy and said, I don't want anything to do with that guy. It's the only guy. So I feel a little bit foolish not taking the money. But you know, you look at a guy like Jeb Bush. He's taking 100 low energy. He's taking 120 extremely low. Oh, I shouldn't say it. He's debating right now. Maybe he's doing great. He's probably looking for me. He's saying, has anyone seen Trump? Where's Trump? Where is he? Where is he? Yeah. Jeb. He's taking $128 million. People that I know, killers, like him, killers. They put up $5 million, $2 million, $8 million. They're lobbyists, they're special interests. They're not doing that for their health. And whenever we have a problem, you know, a lot of times, I was telling the other day, because I know most of the lobbyists, I mean, I've used them. I was on the other side. 7 months ago, I was on the other side. I was a big giver. But I know these people. And I said, believe me, when they put in $6 million, $5 million, $1 million, they're not just doing it. They want something for it. And when you see these horrible deals that are being made, and they are horrible, the politicians aren't that stupid. You think they're horrible. You say, how is it possible that Iran just got $150 billion from this country on one of the dumbest deals ever, and they just went out and their first purchase is 114 Airbus jets, not Boeing jets. And then we have from France and from other countries in Europe. And think of it. And then they go to Russia, they're buying missiles. And somebody said, you know, the 24 days, they have 24 days, but the clock doesn't start ticking for only, so it could be forever. And then they actually do self-inspections. Can you imagine it? And we didn't get our prisoners, I call them hostages, prisoners, we didn't get them back. And then we get the money. So we paid $150 billion, sets such a bad tone for kidnapping that it's a disgrace. So who would believe this? Who would believe what's going on? But when you see that Airbus gets our jets, Russia gets the missiles, which, by the way, they're not supposed to be ordering, just so you understand. Big order, missiles, and other things from Russia. Everybody's getting the money but us. But when you see the politicians and you say, man, that's a bad deal. That's such a stupid deal. How can anybody be so stupid? The reason is the politicians are being taken care of by their lobbyists and their special interests that have interests with Airbus, that have interests with Russia and missiles, that have Airbus with all of these people that are taking that $150 billion. Now, one of the things, and by the way, we have Mike Huckabee sitting right here. Governor, get up for a second. Get up. Great guy. And Rick Santorum, Senator. Where's Rick? Rick? Hey, fellas, come up here for a second. But just so you understand, and these two are not in that category. Come on up, Rick. Come on up, Governor. They are not in they're the only two politicians. They would never do a thing like this. Come on up. Come on up. Look. Stand up here. And Mrs. Huckabee and Rick's daughter, stand up, stand up. USA. USA, 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 USA. So these two people do not fit. They would never, ever have done a thing like that. But when you see deals that are so bad, believe me, they're not bad for the politician. They're bad for the country, and that's why I don't take anything. I don't take anything. We're going to do what's right for the country. Okay, thank you. I want to ask Rick and then Mike to say a few words. You know, I heard they did really well, these two. And who the hell knows? I didn't get to see very much of it, but I heard they did. I said, how did they do? I think if you did poorly, you probably wouldn't be here right now. You'd go back, you'd be depressed, right? Huh? So, Rick, say a few words. Mike, say a few words. Would love it. Come on.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Not to be offensive, I'll stand a little bit over here so I'm not photographed with the Trump sign. I'm supporting another candidate for president. That doesn't mean we can't work together when it comes to helping our veterans, and that's what Mike and I are here doing tonight. And, you know, I grew up on a VA grounds. My mom and dad worked for the Veterans Administration for 40 years. And I watched it over that time, and I heard my parents talk about how the VA system has been degraded over time. Used to be the best healthcare system in the world. It's not the best healthcare system in the world. And we have an obligation to do something to make sure our veterans have the best possible healthcare in the world. And we can give them that by allowing every veteran to go to any hospital in their community to get the care that they need when they need it. We also have to say to our Veterans Administration, you know what, let the private sector take care of this stuff. We have a big problem with our veterans. And I hope a lot of the money tonight that's raised, it goes for that. 22 vets a day commit suicide. 22 vets a day commit suicide because of PTSD and related mental illnesses. Here's what I'd like to do. Let's take all that money for the VA and let's put it into making the Veterans Administration a center of excellence to deal with PTSD and take care of our vets with their mental health problems. So I appreciate all those folks who raised money. Let's put some of that money toward helping our men and women who are suffering the most, and I will be very happy to be here to make sure that that happens. And God bless you, and thank you for being here tonight.
I figure you're going to get the photo anyway. I might as well just stand here and be done with it. Look, let me be very clear. Rick Santorum, Donald Trump, and I may be competitors in a presidential race. But tonight we are colleagues in unison, standing here for the people who let us breathe every breath of free air we breathe, the veterans of the United States of America. Without you, there is no government. You see, in my mind, I was hearing you say, "Go, Huck, go," but I want to say how grateful I am to Donald Trump for inviting us here, because the easy thing for him to do is to simply ignore that anybody else cares about veterans, and he's not that kind of person. And I want to say thank you, Donald Trump, for asking Rick Santorum and me, and I think he would have let any of the other candidates come, and for reasons that maybe I don't understand, they're not here. Some of them because they had a slot at 8 o'clock. I had nothing to do at 8 o'clock tonight. This worked great for me. But it says something about him that he would bring us here to his own event, because bigger than even the election is the fact that we wouldn't have free elections in this country if it weren't for the people who stood between bullets, bombs, and our freedom. And thank you. I want to do one simple thing tonight. I'm done. I'll turn it back to Donald Trump. In September 2005, a very good friend of mine who teaches school at the Joe T. Robinson High School in Little Rock, Arkansas, did something pretty extraordinary on the first day of school. She got permission of the principal. She had all the desks from her classroom removed. Every desk taken out. The kids came in for first period, and they said, "Ms. Cothran," her name is Martha Cothran. Her dad was a World War II POW. So she takes all the desks out. When they come in, they say, "Where's our desk?" She says, "You don't get a desk in my class until you can tell me how you earn it." Well, the kids said, "Well, I guess we get good grades." She said, "No, that's important. You need to do that, but that's not going to get you a desk." Another kid said, "Well, we have to behave." She said, "Oh, you will behave in my class, but that won't get you a desk." And none of them could figure it out. Second period came, same thing. "You don't get a desk until you tell me how you earn it." Third period, fourth period. By now, kids are calling their parents on cell phones and saying, "Mrs. Cothran has lost her mind. She won't let us have a desk." News organizations from Little Rock started coming out to Joe T. Robinson High School in the early afternoon to figure out what has happened with his teacher who has snapped because she's taken all the desks out of her classroom. Last period of the day, the kids came in, asked the same question, "Where are our desks?" And she said, "You have to tell me how you earn it." None of them did. She said, "I guess I'm going to have to explain it to you." Martha Cothran walked over to the door of her classroom. She opened the door, and 27 U.S. veterans wearing their uniforms from various wars walked in carrying a desk. They brought those desks in and lined them up in rows, and as they did, Martha Cothran said, on a day that I'm sure will never be forgotten by those students, she said, "Kids, you don't have to earn your desk, because these guys, they already did. That's why you have a school desk. That's why you have an education, and that's why you have the United States of America." God bless you, and thank you.
Two amazing amazing people, really great people. I've gotten to know them very well, being on the trail, as they say. And I'm very happy with what's going on the trail. I've had an amazing period of time. And I'm not going to be doing polls tonight. Usually I'd like to get up and do polls. And everybody, even Mike would say, why do you keep doing those polls? I say, because they're so good. You know, when you... But we've had amazing polls in Iowa. We've had amazing polls no matter where we've been. And we're leading now by substantial margins in Iowa and every single state. We're leading every national poll because people are tired and they're sick of seeing what's going on with our country, how incompetently we're run, how our military is being decimated. And for tonight, you know, as an example, what's happening tonight. You see the kind of love in this room. There's amazing love. The veterans are the most amazing, the warmest, the best people. And we're going to take care of our veterans. So I just think it's great. So I'm going to introduce somebody who's going to speak for a little while. And I said, take your time. And he's going to introduce a couple of his friends. But he's been through a lot. And John Wayne Walding, I think a lot of you have heard, actually become a very famous person. He should be much more famous than me because he's a lot more courageous than I am, I will tell you. I'm financially courageous, but the other stuff, I don't know, I'm so good. So he spent 12 years in the United States Army, with 7 of those years being in the 3rd Special Forces, top of the line, group at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. He has combat deployments to both Iraq and Afghanistan. And during his career at the 3rd Special Forces Group, really the elite, these are the best, he worked on a Special Forces operator and as an operator at the sniper detachment and as a sniper instructor. He is a phenomenal world-class marksman and shot. His military school experience includes Special Operations Target, Interdictin courses, Special Forces Advanced Urban Combat, not easy, 3rd SFG Advanced Sniper, Special Forces Qualifications courses, and airborne and air assault. He's got every single thing in the book. John's awards and badges include Silver Star, Bronze Star, Purple Heart, Combat Infantry Badge, Airborne Air Assault, and Air Special Forces tab. John participated in numerous battles during his deployment. Most famous of all was the Battle of Shark Valley, which was a tough one, a really tough one. Unbelievable bad results and brilliant results. The victory was brilliant, but tremendous, tremendous carnage, which you can read about in the new book, No Way Out, A Story of Valor in the Mountains of Afghanistan. John lost a leg. He is an amazing guy, and I heard him speak once before. I was so impressed, I just asked him to come over and say a few words and also introduce your very brave friends. Come on up, John Wayne. Come on.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Man, I tell you what, I feel cooler than Burt Reynolds up here getting introduced by Donald Trump. This is awesome. Please sit down, sit down. If you don't mind, I'm going to keep moving as I talk because in the military, a moving target's a lot harder to hit. So that and, well, I'm one-legged, so standing still sucks. So I'm going to keep talking to y'all as I move. And also in the military, that's just how we always called everybody going to sleep, you know. But no, I want to thank all of y'all for coming out, and Trump's here. I'm not here for politics. I want to make that absolutely clear. I'm here for people. I don't care about Republican or Democrat. I care about America. And I've known Donald Trump Jr. for a while now. He's never asked me for one thing politically, but what I know he has done is see me at his hotel, Trump International, Las Vegas. When I was at a conference in Vegas for SHOT Show, have a little gun company, and I was in the restaurant. Being Mr. Trump, he was eating with Willie Robinson, Duck Dynasty guy, real cool guy. Introduced myself, said thank you for letting us have, you know, for coming and everything. And Mr. Trump left. Well, he came back and he squatted next to my table and talked to me for almost an hour and didn't ask one thing. He just genuinely wanted to say hi and let me know that he cared about my service and that he wanted me to make sure I had a good time. So I'm here for people. I'm here for people as great as he is and the Trump organization that I hate that how many people just, they get the bad rap. You know, another story that I know that no one knows is that I remember Donald and his son, senior, or correction, his wife, a long time ago, they broke down. Nobody would ever help them. Finally, a couple stopped. They helped them with their vehicle and helped them get transportation. Well, guess what they did? They paid off their mortgage. Do you ever hear about that? No. Because they're people. They're genuine people, and that is the movement. That is the movement that I think that everybody in America is actually getting onto, is that he is unapologetically American. That's what we are. We are American, absolutely. America is the greatest thing that's ever happened to this planet in its existence, and why should I ever say I'm sorry for that? Tell me that. Mr. Trump, he says things that may not make you feel good, but it is the better thing for this great country. And that's what I care about, is the better things for this country. Now, why I'm here, now, they told me at first I only had a little bit of time, so if you know me by now, you know getting me to talk for a little bit is about as easy. Probably find Hillary Clinton's emails, you know. Just ain't gonna happen, right? So I was very pleased to hear him say that I can get up and speak to you, and so for that, Mr. Trump, thank you very much. But like they said, my name is John Wayne Walding. I'm a Green Beret born on the 4th of July, and I'm from Groesbeck, Texas. So you're welcome, America, right? You can't write this, you know. And on that note, so I asked my dad one day, because this is my true name. I really am John Wayne Walding. Really was born on 4th of July. And I asked my dad one day when I was about 16, and I remember asking, Dad, why'd you name me that? Thinking probably get this great story about how he's a great American and blah, 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 right? He said it just like this, and I quote, "Had a cool birthday, figure you need a cool name." Well, I'm glad you thought, he was kind of a hippie, but you know, I'm glad you thought about it, because I'm not stuck with it. But I became a Green Beret, and like I said, I did 12 years in the military, the majority of that in Special Forces as a Green Beret. And if people didn't know, the actual true term for Green Berets is Special Forces. Special Operations is what they always make, you know, the Navy SEALs and Rangers and everybody else. That's what they fall under. Special Forces are the U.S. Army Green Berets. And one thing I didn't know as a Green Beret, and while I was in, under that hat of Special Operations, over 6% of all the missions that are done by Green Berets. Why does no one know that? Well, we don't write books, we don't be in movies, we do the job. You know, and a good friend of mine was Chris Kyle, and he was a Navy SEAL. And it was always real fun whenever we, you know, be out at a training event. And so you got the Army sniper and the Green, you know, Navy SEAL sniper, and you suck, no, you suck. Ah, well, you know, so that was fun banter back and forth. But that's you know, statistics. You know, we go the most, we die the most, we get hurt the most. Navy SEAL Foundation's got, well, this is an old stat, but around 35 million, and Green Beret Foundation had 3. You know, it's just one of the things that Americans don't realize, that we do our job. Our motto is quiet professionals. You know, and one thing that we've learned, there's a true difference between quiet and silent professional. And that's what I'm trying to be, as humbly as possible, to let people know that the job of a Green Beret is we teach them to die for their country rather than us doing it. That's a pretty good mission, right? Instead of sending 100 Americans into this village to kill a bad guy, why don't we send 15 Green Berets in to teach 1,000 of their army and let them do it? So that's whenever JFK, John F. Kennedy, back in the 60s, actually donned the Green Berets and let us have it. That was our job, and we're good at it, and that's what we love to do. Within 30 days of the towers falling, there were Green Berets in Afghanistan and haven't left yet, and we're not going to leave. So that's my propaganda for there, so I'm a little biased. But okay, so, you know, I lost my leg in Afghanistan in 2008 in a firefight in the Battle of Shock Valley that pretty much we weren't supposed to win. If you ever believe in God, that's why I believe in God, because there's no reason we should be alive. About 15 Americans went up, along with Afghani commandos. We went up against over 200 insurgents when they had the elevated position in the mountain. And after 6.5 hours, 70 danger close airstrikes, 10 silver stars given, we won. How awesome is that? 0 American lives were killed. How can you be a Taliban or ISIS or whatever commander where 15 Americans can go wipe out 200 of you? I don't know how they do it. I'd be in the back of the formation and be like, hey, guys, I got something to do tomorrow, and I don't know. But so that's when I lost my leg, and I got shot halfway through the battle, had to put a tourniquet on my leg along with the help of a fellow Green Beret. During the battle, it was literally folded halfway over, excuse the glory, but halfway over and only hanging by an inch of flesh. And on the objective, I turned it into my growing. I said crotch on national television. Well, I guess twice on national television. I remember what my wife asked me. He's like, really, John? That's what we're, okay, I married you forever. All right. But I say growing now into my area. And that's how I got off the mountain, carrying my leg and fighting next to my brothers. And that's not the end of the story. Thank you. Yeah. I tell everybody you should see the other guy. Yeah, check out the other guy. But that's not the end of the story. That's the beginning. And that's why I'm here. That's the beginning of me learning the word can't. Green Beret, barrel-chested freedom fighter, can't. I cannot walk. I can't walk without the help of a prosthetic leg. And let me tell you something, that is some gut-wrenching punch that I hope none of you ever have to feel, because as not only a father, but a husband and a provider for the family, when you lose that leg, that is an instant insecurity that you go into about, am I good enough? Am I okay to make sure that my family has food? Can I still provide? And 3 things is what made me get better. First and foremost is God, because without him, we'd be nothing. Amen? Amen. That's the first thing. The second thing is my wife and family, my beautiful wife, who is Amy at home if you're watching. Love you, sugar. But that is absolutely my wife and family, making sure that every single day I have that compass to look forward to and say, thank you. And the third thing that made me want to always continue to lean forward and fight hard is you, Americans, great Americans that get it. Absolutely get it. It's the Americans that say the 2 words, thank you. Never underestimate the magnitude of what the 2 words, thank you, mean to veterans. If you don't believe me, ask a Vietnam guy. Ask somebody in Vietnam what it's like to come back and get spit on. Ask somebody in Vietnam what it's like to get called a baby killer. I'll tell you right now, if I lost my leg for my country and I got spit on, I'd be homeless, single, and have an addiction problem, because those 2 words are absolutely that mental validation that says it's worth it. Right? That's what everything we do, it says it's worth it. I like to joke, I like to have fun, and I always say I make one-legged look good. I don't have a face for radio. I'm up here, so it's not too bad. But I'll be honest with you, if I didn't tell you that it sucks being one-legged. It sucks not being able to do calf raises. It sucks not to be able to walk to the bathroom in the middle of the night. It sucks whenever your kids are wanting to play soccer and you can't do it because you've been working all day with a real job trying to make your money. But it's worth it. Why? Because thank you. Great Americans like yourselves that say thank you, and it makes that mental validation that says it's worth it. And what does that do? That makes me not just want to be a husband, but a loving husband. Not just a father, but an involved, an actual loving and compassionate father. Somebody that wants to be with them. Not just a citizen, but a successful, right? A productive citizen of society. Somebody that wants to actually be with other Americans and not just be in that wall, in that prison that they call home, because nobody ever validated their sacrifice. So, again, never underestimate the magnitude of what thank you means to veterans. You're worth it. So, thank you. So when I hear those 2 words and somebody says thank you, I say you're worth it. Because you are worth fighting for. You're worth fighting for, because we are the best place in the country to live. All right? God bless you. This is awesome. All right. So when you say thank you, I say you're worth it, and I mean it. But let me tell you something else, though. We lose 22 vets a day to suicide and lack of transition. And I can tell you I felt that firsthand. Because not only when you get back, the military gives you a big old shopping cart full of drugs that says, hey, you got shot, take these, it'll make you feel better. And about after a year, I realized I'm healed. You know, I'm healed. My injury, my leg ain't growing back. I tried, you know, never mind. So anyway, I've tried. It ain't going to heal. My incisions, stitches, everything out, it's not going to heal. But guess what? I still hurt. I hurt every single day, and I know that will take it away. Fortunately, I had God, my family, and my country behind me, but not everybody gets to feel that. And you lose that compass, right? Whenever you get out, people don't care. You know, they don't care. Everybody loves you, and they pat you on your back, but who's going to pay the bills, right? So when you get out, you don't know where that compass is spinning. I challenge you to find a veteran or someone that has better work ethic, better dedication than a veteran. But when that compass is spinning, that's when the insecurity builds in. That insecurity instantly becomes sadness because you're sad. You got the boo-boo lip out. That's what I call the boo-boo lip. I rarely bring it out, only when at home. But you get that out, and then that instantly becomes depression. You know, you get depressed. Man, I suck at life. I can't even pay my bills. You know, I don't get a paycheck on the 1st and 15th, and that 4 walls become a prison. You know, that's how it happens. And I want to punch that in the mouth. I want to punch 22 vets committing suicide in the mouth, and the way that I do that, absolutely. And the best thing, and I want to speak specifically to veterans right now, if you're having that problem, that life sucks, right, because you're one-legged or no-legged or whatever, you know, just a civilian now, which it is kind of weird being a civilian, I'm not going to lie. It's got a weird feeling to it. But you see that compass spinning, you don't know what to do. When you start getting sad, you need to tell yourself that you owe it to the fallen to live well. And think about that. All right? I have over 30 names that are embroidered into my center console, and it's not because I think it's cool to see a lot of names. It's because I knew every single one of those names, and they're dead now. And I have to stomach that. You know, the Army, the military, Green Berets, they teach us how to deal with death, but not deal with it. And I'm not saying that needs to be the mission. They need to be able to shoot, move, communicate, do the great things that we do. However, that's something that we don't have the coping mechanism. And the 35th time that you get that call and say, hey, Ryan got it. Or, hey, Aaron Bellagio, he's no longer with us. Or even worse, what if you're stateside and you see that casket being lowered with that American flag down and his family's there with his wife, 3-month baby that he hadn't even met, looking at you? Do you say, I'm sorry? What do you say to that? It's impossible to actually make a statement to say, sorry for your loss. Here's how you do that. You live well for the fallen. That's a debt that you owe. If your life sucks, they win. Right? If your life sucks, they win. And that's something you cannot let happen. So whenever you get that feeling that it's over, hey, you guys sleeping over there. There you go. I got you, boy. What? Been on TV? Called me out? Hey, I'm just saying. But whenever you get that feeling of hopelessness or that feeling of sadness, remember, you owe it to them to live well. And that's the best middle finger that you can give to the Taliban, is to live great and live awesome. So to remind myself every single day, I wear this ring right here as a symbol of 22 that commit suicide every single day. And I want to bring up Jacob Schick and Jeff Kyle, two great friends of mine. Well, there we go. Come on up there, sugar. Jake is the executive director of the 22 Kill Project, and that's what we are absolutely, that's why he breathes air, is to punch 22 vets committing suicide in the mouth. And so I want to let him talk to y'all about the 22 Kill ring, and we're going to present one with Mr. Trump tonight.
Thanks, brother. So much America, John Wayne. So much America. Love it. I can't say it. Sorry, brother. So we wear these honor rings. I'm blessed to be a part of a great organization to fight the staggering statistics that 22 warriors die by suicide every day. Not only do we lose them on the battlefield, but we lose them when they come home by their own hand. And on average, it's 22 a day. All three of us, we're all war fighters, and we've all buried brothers. And it's unacceptable. So at 22kill.com, we fight like hell every day to end that statistic and let these warriors know and their families know you're worth it. Keep fighting the good fight. People wonder why we're the best military in the world. I'll tell you why. Because it's one team, one fight. We're all in it together. And that is how we're going to end the statistic. So we wear these honor rings on our trigger fingers for a reason. It's not a fashion thing, it's a life thing. Because this life is absolutely worth living. So we are so proud to be here and honored to be here. And I've only met Mr. Trump a short time and his family, but two of my brothers know him a lot longer than I have. And I'll tell you right now, their word, that's gold. So if they say it, it's so. And with that, these honor rings mean so much to us because it's a silent salute to those who served and or are serving, and to highlight the fact that we lose 22 of our finest every day by their own hand. And together we can crush that. We can stop it. So, thank you. So with that, before we do this presentation, I feel like it would be remiss if I didn't say to all those in the audience tonight who served and to family members who went through those deployments with them, thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for what you did. And to our Vietnam veterans, welcome home. Welcome home. And with that, I would like one of my best friends and fellow Marine, we're better, get over it, John Wayne, we're better, to present Mr. Trump with his personal honor ring that we brought for you. And we hope that you wear it with pride, and remember that one team, one fight aspect, so we can make America great again together, brother.
That was amazing. Isn't that better than this debate that's going on where everyone's sleeping, right? They're all sleeping. They're all sleeping, everybody. You know, I see two of my friends in the audience, and they've become very famous and very rich. Come on, Diamond and Silk, get up here for a second. Diamond and Silk, these two are unbelievable. Melania called me, she said, you know, there's somebody that's so amazing, come here, you have to see this. And I came and I watched these two incredible women, these two beautiful women, and they were going rapping back, forth. Never ends. Amazing. All right, thank you. I don't know. You know, I really believe if we took them into a room and just talked to them, it would be fine. They'd understand. We want strength. We want good health care. We want protection. We want borders. We want the wall. We want the wall. But if we could sit with them for about 10 minutes, maybe they'd understand. Say hello.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hi.
And you know, it really amazes me how people from the other camp want to come in here and mess up our stuff because their stuff is boring.
Yeah.
But we all know that Donald J. Trump is going to make America great again, don't we?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Now, we know that this is not a rally, but this is for our veterans.
Yes.
But I want you all to know that it is imperative that you get out and caucus for Donald J. Trump and vote for
Yes.
Donald J. Trump.
Yes, baby. Yes. Yes.
And see, while they on the other side debating, we got a negotiator and a job creator right here.
Yes. Yes. Make it happen.
And it is up to all of us to help Donald J. Trump make America great again.
I'll tell you what, they are something, those two. Right? Was that something? They really have, they've become a sensation all over the internet, all over everything, and we really appreciate it. So, just to sum up, we have an amazing country. We need strong leadership. We need compassionate leadership. We have to take care of our health care. We have to take care of our borders. We have to make our military so strong, so big, so powerful that nobody messes with us. We're never going to have to use it. We want nobody to mess with us. All over, and I tell this story all the time, I see our generals, they're always on talk shows. They're retiring, or even when they're not, they're talking about where the enemy is, how. I don't want generals that talk. I want generals, and so do you folks. I want generals that have action, that know. I want General George Patton. I want General MacArthur. We want generals. We want people that are going to keep us safe. So I just say this. We are a country that doesn't win anymore. We don't win anymore. When was the last time we won? We don't win on trade. We don't win in the military. We don't beat ISIS. We don't do anything. We're not good. We're just not the same place. We are going to win so much. We are going to win at the military. We're going to win at the border. We're going to win on trade. We're going to get rid of Obamacare and come up with great, powerful, wonderful health care. We're going to win again. I'll tell you what, we're going to win again. We're going to win at every single level. And we're not going to be laughed at throughout the rest of the world because, believe me, they laugh at our stupidity. They cannot believe what's happening. We send weapons over to our allies. A gun is fired in the air. They hear one sound of a bullet. They drop the weapons. The enemy takes them. And now people come back from the Middle East and they tell me, Mr. Trump, they have better weapons than we do. They have the new versions. They have the best weapons, the enemy. Not going to happen anymore. It's not going to happen anymore, I will tell you. So, this is a special night for me, and I had no idea this was going to happen. We started out literally 24 hours ago, maybe less. We had no idea, and we went out. We set up the website. I called some friends. And we just cracked, the sign was just given, we just cracked $6 million, right? $6 million. And we have outside a list of the organizations and folks that are going to be getting this money. We're going to divide it up, and they're going to get a lot of money. Everybody's going to get a lot of money, and they're really great. And we watched it. We were very careful in selecting because we want to make sure that the costs are down, that the people are really doing it with the heart. The heart is so important. And we have picked out some really amazing veterans organizations. So This has turned out to be a much different evening. I thought this would be small. I didn't even know if it was going to happen, and it turned out to be a phenomenal night. I've gotten to meet some incredible veterans. I've gotten to meet John Wayne and your friends, and they are something. I'm not going to mess with them, okay? And I want to thank my entire family. I'll tell you, you have Vanessa and Don and Jared. Big success, right, Don? Jared, he's doing good. And Ivanka is going to have a baby in 2 weeks. In fact, we have a hospital all lined up. And you know what? I'm doing great. I love the people of Iowa. But I said, Ivanka, it would be so great if you had your baby in Iowa. It would be so great. I'd definitely win. Stand up, honey. Say hello. Say hello. Oh, I want that to happen. I want that to happen so badly. And Lara and my boy Eric, who's just been fantastic, and my staff, it's just been great. And again, thank you, sir, for that $1 million. And I'll tell you what, special guy, and we love him. So, just to end, an amazing evening. You veterans are incredible people, brave beyond comprehension. And I just want to, on behalf of everybody in this country, in Iowa, but in this country, I want to thank you for the job you do, because without you, we would not be here tonight. Thank you all very much. Fantastic people. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much.
There's a fire